It seems like the tension in Mercedes isn't going down, and the fact that the W14 isn't delivering the results that everyone hoped for only goes to add fuel to the fire. Russell and Hamilton have a lot on their hands right now, and even though the relationship between them has been pictured as the perfect one that two teammates can have, the Australian GP has shown a different perspective on how things stand between the two Britons. Furthermore, it seems like things are going to develop into something much more controversial, where Mercedes are going to become more competitive as previously predicted by Wolff himself. Now, during the course of the first 3 races, we've seen Russell have a better qualifying pace than Hamilton and better finishing results. His Australian GP start has been phenomenal, and even though he had to end his race prematurely due to a series of bad luck moments, such as him pitting during the safety car and the stewards deciding to red flag the race, as well as the reliability issues of the W14, it goes to show that he's giving Hamilton a hard time. After all, Hamilton won 6 championships with Mercedes, and in a quick manner, and he turned into the second driver on his team. And from Hamilton's perspective, Russell had a bit more luck than him in Jeddah, because the setup that his younger colleague has chosen has usually proven to be the wrong one in the previous experiences. Now, during the previous season, Hamilton has also made statements similar to this, adding that he's been the guinea pig of Mercedes in terms of experimenting with setups and hoping that Russell would take on the role in the further endeavours. However, Russell has slammed Hamilton's statement, and recently he did speak back to the 7-time world champion in terms of his P4 place being pure luck due to the setup that he's chosen. When talking about this matter, the young Briton added, "I don't think there's any luck in it at all. The changes were made overnight. I knew that was going to be the right direction with the work we did with the team, and I believed it was going to be better than the setup that Lewis opted for. I think everyone's got different preferences. I was happy with the direction I took and the work I'm doing with the engineers." So why are we talking about this right now? Well, it's evident that Hamilton cannot accept the fact that he has a teammate that is performing better than him, and for some reason, he cannot find peace with the W14. After the car has proven to be an even bigger disappointment than the W13, according to Mercedes' words, Russell has yet again managed to get the better out of the front-ended car, and hadn't it been for the reliability issues, he believes that he would have had a legitimate chance of winning the race. This is hard to believe from our side, as we've seen that Hamilton was passed without any difficulties by the superior machinery that Red Bull managed to build for the 2nd consecutive season. However, Russell would have had a legitimate chance of finishing ahead of his teammate for the 3rd consecutive weekend, and this has become a sight that we're getting used to more and more frequently. Although Russell is regarded as a person who does not lose his cool easily on the radio, this incident occurred during the Australian GP when his team asked him to push less so that Hamilton could benefit from the DRS, and Russell witnessed his teammate attacking him. Now remember that during the beginning of the 2022 season, Wolff said that when Mercedes is able to fight for wins, the respect between Russell and Hamilton would be out of the window. Russell wasn't happy that his team gave him the order to hold back, but Hamilton wanted to capitalise on that, as he went on to say, "You're asking me to manage and I'm being attacked by my teammate." Evidently, Mercedes is trying to experiment with all sorts of things at this point, but nothing seems to go their way. They tried to capitalise on the safety car period by Albon by pitting Russell and protecting his position, but the fact that the red flag came meant that only Hamilton was left in front to defend against the roaring RB19 behind him, which turns out to be something impossible this season. But we must take the positive side of this. Mercedes started P2 and P3 in Australia, and Hamilton managed to be better than Alonso. From what we've seen in the previous 2 races, this wasn't the available result for Mercedes, and the fact that they've been able to finish ahead of Ferrari and both Aston Martins goes to show that there is a lot of potential for the W14, especially now that the new upgrades are supposed to boost the performance of the car in Imola and Baku. Now keep in mind that Mercedes is building a brand new design for the car, one that is supposed to maximise its performance in the middle part of the season, when the fruits of having more time in the wind tunnels should be harvested by the silver arrows. This is also the time when Red Bull is expected to slow down and drop a bit in performance. So when Mercedes has a legitimate chance to win races, who are they going to prioritise as their #1 driver? This is something that Hamilton needs to adapt sooner rather than later, and no matter how troublesome the W14 is, and no matter how much he struggles to get a hold of this wild beast, if he wants to challenge Russell for higher podium finishes, he needs to act sooner rather than later. Fittipaldi, a Brazilian racing legend, believes that Russell is now looking out for blood and doesn't plan on stopping anytime soon. And that's something that could hurt Hamilton's future with the team. When talking about it, Fittipaldi said, "For sure, Russell is more aggressive now, he's more experienced now, and the Mercedes team knows him much better now. It seems like he's becoming a better fit for the team now. This is his best chance to get ahead of Lewis Hamilton and show that he has the level. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. His situation is quite similar to Perez in my opinion. He'll be driving 110% now and be aggressive to go past people." Well, the tension between both drivers has also gone a bit high during the 2022 season's beginnings, when Hamilton kept saying that the design of the car is wrong and the team won't be able to achieve anything with it. However, unlike him, Russell managed to bring it always to the top 5, which is why he's gained the nickname Mr. Consistency. And even though it's hard to process at this moment, the fact that Wolff and the team went with Russell's verdict is a bit of a low blow for the 7-time world champion. So, Hamilton's statements about the team not listening to him when they should have, and given the fact that he is a 7-time world champion and knows what a car needs and what doesn't, are a bit of a subtle hint towards his teammate Russell. And the fact that, according to Hamilton, no one went to celebrate with him after the high season finish at P2 after a troublesome start of the campaign goes on to show that the 7-time world champion might have some trouble with the Silver Arrows.
What does the second place mean to you and the team after such a hard start to the season?
Well, I don't know what it means to the team because I haven't seen anybody, if I'm honest. But
to top this off, he isn't talking about renewing the contract at this point, as it was definitely one of the hottest topics to be discussed prior to the beginning of the 2023 campaign. Wolff's statements about Hamilton having to think about all of his options other than Mercedes have only complemented the fact that the Briton isn't the happiest driver currently on the grid, and he could leave the team for one that, although it sounds a bit cynical and bizarre at this moment, has a better car than Mercedes but has troubles optimizing its full potential: Ferrari. Even though rumours are, well, exactly that, rumours, as weekends pass by, we're being more and more assured that Mercedes is not on the best of terms with Hamilton. And at this point, we cannot help but wonder, what's next for both sides? Hamilton could very well leave the team at the end of the season, and that might not hurt Mercedes as much as they've hoped, now that there are some interesting prospects to be signed, with one of them being in their garage as a reserve driver, Mick Schumacher. Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc are also becoming available sooner rather than later, so Hamilton may be forced to accept the fact that his time is long gone and the young force of Russell is now leading the team into new challenges. With this in mind, what do you think about the tension between Russell and Hamilton? And do you think that the young Briton's performance would drive the 7-time world champion off the team? Let us know in the comments down below.